Hello.
And
Hello.
welcome. This is the panel where we celebrate the almost 20th anniversary of the Nintendo GameCube. I'm one of your hosts, Casey Gibson. Joining me as well in person is Perry Burka, my co-host of the Talk Nintendo podcast.
Hello, Casey.
And the man holding the silver edition of the GameCube is the one and only John Raritan. And if you see him in the chat, it's John Raritan.
With no spaces and a lowercase r. Hello.
Hello.
Amazing. You know, Casey, sometimes when I'm holding game consoles, I go, man, these are hard to hold. But you know what?
Not the
GameCube's
GameCube.
easy to hold because it has a handle on the back, and it makes it so you can go like this and hold it. It's pretty great, actually.
Some people call it the precursor to the Switch because it does have that portability involved.
It does.
We sort of jumped ship with the Wii and the Wii U there, getting rid of that. But yes, we are here to talk about the what did you call it before,
The
John?
Indigo. Oh yeah. What
The
was it?
purple
Oh,
lunchbox.
the purple lunchbox is, I believe,
Lunchbox.
the official Nintendo World Report name for it.
I love it.
Boom.
And, I guess real quick. Funnily enough, and this had really nothing to do with anything, but our yearly Patreon T-shirt has a GameCube. It looks just like the top of this, and it says NWR on it. It's pretty sweet.
The good old cube, baby. Yeah, we're seeing in the chat. Thank you for making us feel. We feel equally as old because I remember when this game came out, and I think we're going to get into our launch stories, or probably not launch because many of us were young and probably got it as a gift at some point. But yes, we're here to talk about the GameCube. We're going to give a brief history, sort of pre-development when it came out, and then as you can see back here, we got a whole bunch of games to talk about and stuff as well. So we're really stoked to be here. Thank you to LI Retro Gaming Expo. You know, obviously with Corona going on, sort of shifted everything, but we're super stoked to be part of UPLINK and really happy to be here. So thank you everyone for joining us. And again, thank you guys for having us. So
Thanks for, and really, John, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, I put no work into it.
yeah, that's the best way to do it. And we
We all
needed
know
a
you cleaned
handsome,
up your office.
strapping young man on the stream, to sort of these two ogres. But
The bar is low.
yeah.
Aren't you the oldest one? How old are you, John?
I don't know, 28, I think.
I think I'm
Yes.
28.
Yeah, I'm the old man in the room.
You're an old.
As you can
fart.
see. But I had more hair when the GameCube came out. But why don't we get right into the GameCube, right? So
Enough about your hair.
Enough about my male patterned baldness. Let's get into the GameCube.
You know, and I should say, just feel free to tell us if we're jambering in the chat there.
we jamber from time to time.
We do.
It's already begun.
Okay, so I guess we're getting right into it.
Yeah.
Right?
Let's kick us off with some history, Jerry.
Well, so like I said, I was back when I was 7. They publicly announced it as Project Dolphin, and we've always heard it as that. And there's a bunch of dolphin stuff in a bunch of games, right? The Pikmin, it had the dolphin, the spaceship and stuff, and
Yep.
and, there's other stuff.
Yeah, I think there's little nods
Isle
throughout.
Delfino and Mario Sunshine is a dolphin.
Yeah, there you go, exactly, and then exactly. So, what is the story behind? Like, what was there a reason? Because I know, like, remember, like Wii U had like Project
Cafe. Yep.
Was there? And I guess I remember there was some sort of reason because it was called that.
Well, then maybe you should have looked it up.
No,
think that's
was
just-
there a reason that it was dolphin? I'm wondering.
Just to distract. I mean, I know stories I've heard have been a big focus of its launch was on like water rendering, because you had not to
Wave
get ahead
race.
on the launch stuff, but you had stuff like
right.
Wave Race and Mario
Right.
Sunshine. Later, you'd have Wind Waker. Like there was a focus on rendering water with this thing. I don't know if it's actually associated with why it's called the Dolphin,
Yeah, that's
or if
true.
it went the other way around, but water was a big deal on the GameCube.
Sure.
Maybe that was their way of testing it. Had sort of something bouncing in and out of the water, right, to get the ripple effects along those lines. So.
I like it. I like these conspiracy theories.
Yep.
But yeah, so that was in May 1999. And then a year and some change later, August 25th, 2000, they announced it publicly as the GameCube.
The Nintendo GameCube.
Yep.
Mm.
And remember, you got to capitalize that C.
Yep. And then the Xbox. They're all about shapes in the early 2000s
know.
there.
I
So
don't know.
Got
yeah.
a couple notes in the chat. I think I'm louder than you guys. I can try to turn myself down a little bit. I don't know if you guys can turn yourself up.
Yeah, why don't you turn those two knobs right there?
yeah, we might be able to do that.
Thank you for addressing that. so much. It's kind of like when you have like some
The-
parsley in your teeth. No one tells you.
Yeah, and then you just go around like a goon.
Whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, you're way louder now. Okay, am I the same volume as you guys now? Chat.
Yeah, I can turn me down.
And we can hold our mics a little
Yeah,
bit further down here. Is that
Okay.
sounding all right?
Test.
Yeah.
You're definitely louder.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I definitely did turn the knob, so
Yeah, you
Okay.
so his equipment is
Yeah,
working.
You can see how it's. Yeah.
I think
so-
Perry, you're still quiet.
Okay.
It's just
I'll
Casey.
talk closer.
John
Alright,
is
I-
still a lot louder. Mike, Thomas.
All right.
Maybe I'm just a boisterous boy. I'm like turned all the way down.
Well,
Well, as we work this out, right? I think I'm sounding okay now, right? I'm not overbearing. So we can get sort of keep it going with the history here. They originally announced that they're going to be 15 launch games, which is quite a bit. That's quite a bit of launch games, especially now, with the Switch and more modern consoles, right? Obviously, you could have maybe 3 or 4, physical games, and then you could have a bunch of indies or smaller downloadable titles. So
right.
that might be something that, nowadays you can get away with. Obviously, back then you didn't have. So they had 15 planned, but some of them didn't make it. They actually ended up coming out earlier, later on, and they ended up only with 12. But even 12 seems like quite a few launch games
Yeah,
to be
it's
going
funny.
out with.
It's funny because a lot of these I didn't realize are launch titles. Some of them come to mind. Crazy Taxi. I remember
Mhm.
that.
Luigi's Mansion is obviously
the obvious
sort
one.
of the pinnacle, right?
And Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, I remember playing that at a family reunion at a cabin. I went there and my cousins had come with it, and they had the a little TV there, and we were playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, and it was the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Tony Hawk, man. What a great game. What a great game. But
Oh, yeah.
I guess, John, you want to go down the list? We have the 12 games here. We could sort of talk a little bit about them.
Yes.
Yeah, if you want to give it the
yeah,
go.
you sound much better now. I don't know what you
Perfect.
did,
Okay.
but
Perfect.
sound much better.
Giddy up.
Hang on. I was adjusting settings and got rid of the list. Now it's back. Yeah.
Boom.
So launch games. We had everyone's favorite All-Star Baseball 2002.
I believe I
Um,
had that game.
Mm-hmm.
Did you? Batman Vengeance, Crazy Taxi, Dave Mirra Freestyle, BMX 2,
Oh
Disney's Tarzan Untamed,
Perry favorite.
Luigi's Mansion, which I can talk about later.
Yeah.
Madden NFL 2002, NHL Hits 2002 with a hyphen in the middle because that's important.
Because it's extreme.
It's that's just as long as saying 20, whatever.
Yeah.
Star Wars Rogue Squadron 2 Rogue Leader, Super Monkey Ball, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3, Wave Race Blue Storm.
Yeah.
That's everything.
Boom.
So I kind of forgot that Wave Race Blue Storm was a
A launch
what's that?
title.
Yeah. Now,
A
quick,
lot of sports
quick
games, too.
trivia. Where did Wave Race? What system did Wave Race start on?
Game Boy Color.
Game Boy, not color.
Not
Game Boy.
Color. Dang, I was like, I
That
know
was pretty
this.
good though.
And
I'm gonna.
you are
I know
now
this trick
off
question.
the stream,
Wow.
John. We'll see
Wow,
you
John.
later.
All right. Well,
Wow.
have a good day, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, and so those launch titles I remember, like I said, like playing Crazy Taxi, and I never played Luigi's Mansion on the GameCube. I never played it.
Really? Like to
I
this
mean,
day?
like when it was out. I've played it now on the GameCube. Like I played like I played it for the first time like a few years
Oh,
ago.
The poster behind you is a 3DS poster. I was like,
It is.
Henry,
Oh shit.
God, dude, blowing up our spot.
wow,
not a
you should have
3DS
put
poster.
something just right. Yeah, keep your shoulder
Just
over that.
my-
so they
the-
can't see that
What's up with
part.
his awkward shoulder?
I just like to show everyone.
But it's interesting to see, right? So many sports games as well. So that was still a time when Nintendo was getting the sports games. I mean, now again, jump how many, almost 20 years in advance, Switch is getting some more sports games now. But there was that period,
When it was
that-
like on par.
yeah, we
with-
weren't
Yep.
getting that. Yeah, I mean, GameCube graphically is powerful.
Was awesome, yeah.
So,
And
but yeah.
and honestly, it was. I mean, I think that throughout the whole duration of the GameCube cycle, the third-party support for like with EA, like I think it had the sports titles going all the way through. I don't. Was there
It didn't
was
have-
there ever?
I mean, like, PlayStation 2 kept them for an absurdly long time.
Yeah.
Like there's some very, very late PS2 FIFA games.
Mhm.
But
It's like Just Dance.
yeah,
keeps on
it's
going.
I mean,
Mhm.
really, it is.
Yep.
And
And
I
that's
think
because so many people had PS2s because
yeah, well, and
like,
PS2,
ridiculous.
PS2 and Xbox are also where you started to see the focus on like an online infrastructure. And so
And
you
we're
had
still
Xbox
waiting.
Live starting, and you had Sony's whatever it was called starting, and Nintendo technically had the ability to do that, but nobody actually owned what they needed to have that happen. Yeah.
Right. I mean, there was Fantasy Star Online,
ports,
right?
yeah.
That
Yep.
So they had those
I
attachments
remember it
on the
being
bottom.
like when I, because I was in, grade school, and it was like, it was like a myth that the GameCube could go online.
What a different
Ooh.
time that was.
I know.
Like apparently we just couldn't Google things back then.
Yeah.
And
No,
it
it
was
wasn't.
like maybe the GameCube can go online. We have no way of knowing. It's
The great mystery.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like, did you know that you can hack Mario Kart Double Dash and play it online or something like, there's always
Well, and there'd be,
something like that.
yeah. Did you know that if you beat it 100 times with Peach on 150cc, you unlock Sonic the Hedgehog?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
exactly.
Yeah.
Love it.
And then
Dude.
no one tried because no one cares about Sonic.
Dude, seriously. Oh, uh-oh.
Yeah, we're starting. We're starting it early, folks.
But I will say that, honestly, talk about different era. The cheat code era, man. I was all about cheat codes. I mean, those are so much fun. I remember looking on, like typing in, like, how to unlock, like, Spider-Man and Tony Hawk and, whatever that is. Like,
They were
stuff
all
like
about
that.
cheat codes.
Yeah,
and stuff.
and
It was
so much
definitely
fun. Yeah.
because I think
And
it
that's
was
just gone now.
probably just a carryover. I feel like that was like with arcade stuff and like and maybe not necessarily arcade, but like early like ports to like SNES, all those like and N64, right? Big head mode in GoldenEye and paintball mode and everything. Like
Oh yeah,
they had so much fun with that.
Yes.
And then it's sort of a thing of the past. I see David in the chat asking, Spice, the orange GameCube was the Spice color.
Yeah.
And
did that ever come out in America?
They didn't.
We got the controller. We didn't get the actual console.
Yeah, the console was in Japan, but we did get the controller. I did have one of those Spice controllers growing up.
I never had
until
one.
my brother unceremoniously smashed it, like most of our controllers, because he was a very angry boy.
Wow.
But yes,
that
was my favorite color.
The two times I've been on a podcast with you, they've both involved stories about your brother destroying controllers.
yeah, he's a breaker. Yeah,
I think it maybe I picked up your brother's controller when I bought this like a year ago, and it came with a controller that literally was 3 different parts. It had the back of it, like it was a Spice Orange, the controller, the unit that plugs in, like that unit that was Spice Orange, and then it was a silver and a purple. Like someone unscrewed it and had fun, and let's change all these around.
Yeah,
and have fun with
a million pieces, like the Frankenstein
It was
controller.
a Frankenstein controller. Yeah, that was your brother's.
To have holes in just like on the handle was not uncommon. Like, oh, there's just a little hole here. All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, moving along.
Yeah, like one thing that's kind of very Nintendo like that I don't really remember, but this kind of jogs my memory, is that in 2001 on May 21st, the launch price was revealed at $200 at $199, and that was $100 less than PS2 and Xbox.
Yeah.
So I kind of forgot that because I kind of thought that Wii was kind of like the first like, yo, like we're underpriced, like
come by us. Almost like a companion console, almost.
Yeah,
right?
something like that. Yeah,
you had a PS3 or an Xbox 360, and you had a Wii kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the price pointing did that. But no, I do remember that GameCube was cheaper. I remember they eventually got down like super cheap.
I remember the ad for $149.99, and I remember it going to $99.
Yeah, the 90. Yeah, and then like a Walmart special. Like I remember those too. But yeah,
Totally.
I mean, obviously that's a pretty big competitive edge, right? $100 cheaper, a third cheaper than the other price, the other consoles. So that was definitely something. And it's funny because with the Wii, right, you could almost justify, like, obviously it was an HD. It was cheaper in that sense. They weren't spending the money up front. But with the GameCube, like we were saying before, it was a powerful console. It did, visually, it was very comparable to the other ones. If not,
it holds up. It crushes the PS2.
And the Xbox
very well to the Xbox. I mean, you look at other launch title, Rogue Squadron 2, and so that's a launch title on games. Compare that to like Halo 2, which is like a swan song of Xbox, and Rogue Squadron 2 holds up pretty darn well.
Rogue Squadron 2 still looks great.
They know.
Great.
They knew.
Yeah, it's a beautiful game.
Yeah, it really is.
Do we have that? No, you don't have that one.
I don't have that one.
I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. I'm making more enemies as we go. But yeah, so I never really.
Well, you don't hate Star Wars.
I don't hate it. I just
He's
don't
no
like
Sonic.
It. Yeah, no, Sonic's the worst. I'll stand by that to the day I die.
All right.
John's like, don't associate.
I was like, I was gonna beat him up for the Star Wars thing, but then he said some mean things about Sonic, so I guess he's okay.
Balances out.
Yeah, it all works out in the end.
I do remember playing the pod racing game.
Hey, GameCube was the ultimate crusher for Sonic, right? Like we've won.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Oh,
but
that was the day,
won.
like, because I had a Dreamcast when the Dreamcast came out, and I had Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2, and then like seeing those games show up on GameCube, it was like, holy crap, it happened. Like, like that was like Nintendo had already won the console war at that point, but like Sonic on GameCube was the most just like, whoa. I mean, that would be akin to Master Chief showing up on Switch.
Yeah.
Like, it was so bizarre.
Yeah. Might still happen in Smash Bros.
I know, seriously.
Oh,
And
yeah,
Sonic comes in Smash.
Confirmed. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It's like they killed Sega and then they took their lunch money too. You know, it's like we'll take that as well on top.
But you know what? Sonic's all right. Sonic's all right.
He's fine.
Yeah,
he's fine.
That's
He's no Mario.
He's no Mario.
He's fine.
Well, the actual GameCube launched in September on the 14th in 2001 in Japan, and then the plan was for it to come out November 5th of the same year, just almost 2 months later in North America. They ended up actually delaying it like almost 2.5 more weeks to November 18th, so that they could sort of stockpile, get a few more units to push out there. And it's sort of funny to think too, like a 2-month period between the launch, right, in Japan and North America. Now, of course, like you said, what was 2001? So I was probably like 12-ish, give or take. So obviously I didn't have money to be doing that. But like if that was nowadays and there was that gap, like you bet your Bippy I'd be freaking importing that system.
Yeah.
So it's just sort of funny to think the lag between
2.5 weeks or months. 2.5
months.
Oh yeah.
So it's a pretty big lag.
So our beloved website, now Nintendo World Report, then Planet GameCube. That's what a lot of the guys did. Is we have videos going back in the archives of guys going.
Billy
to Japan
Berghammer, like didn't he fly to Japan?
Yep, he got his GameCube on launch day in Japan.
Yeah,
and,
that's amazing.
Brought it
and
back.
I believe
I get it.
I believe Nintendo World Report still has one of the earliest game FAQs on Sunshine because they imported it as well, and just everyone sort of contributed to that.
It was a very different time for games journalism.
Yeah, very interesting. But
I got this little sticker here. This is $14.99.
It's like
that's time
to
great that now
for Mario Sunshine.
I'll keep that sticker on there.
Yeah, just to rub it in.
Yeah, I mean, so launch stories. I mean, I'm the youngest of 4 brothers. I never had money. I like my parents never really bought me video games, but I got hand-me-downs of stuff. So I had like a Game Boy and stuff. Luckily, I never picked up a GameCube at launch. I never, launch. What was a launch? I didn't know what that was. But my brother's friend, Jake, I remember he came over. He brought it over, and he had Crazy Taxi and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. And then he left it at my house.
Oh, man.
And then he never took it back.
This is a gift.
I don't understand.
Dude, your brother had some dirt on him. He's like, you're going to come over here with that GameCube.
I remember being like, dude, like, I remember saying I don't know what happened. I was like, Jake, like, you left your GameCube at my house. He's like, oh, I'll just keep it. I was like,
all right.
What?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that was it was great. So I remember playing.
The year was actually 2010, and Perry didn't realize that the system was almost a decade old.
No.
He's like, take it, dude.
No. I remember that was back like, and I was in the skateboard, and I put like a Spitfire sticker on the top of it.
Dude, who wasn't into skateboarding after playing Tony Hawk?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The single-handedly the biggest thing to influence skateboard sales around America.
Dude, amazing.
Was definitely Tony Hawk.
Yeah.
And I'm guilty as charged.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, John, what's your story about the launch there?
It would have been around launch. I don't think it was at launch. But my younger brother and one of my older sisters, we all went in on it together so that we could get one. Because
that's really nice, John.
Heck
yeah, we're family
nice story.
teamwork.
Reared in love, baby.
Teamwork.
Yeah. But we all went in together to get one. I don't remember what games got at launch. I remember getting Smash Bros. When that whenever Smash Bros. Came out, I didn't, for a long time after I got the GameCube, I didn't have a memory card. So I was just kind of playing games and not saving. Because you have to remember, this was after the N64, where most games saved on the cartridge. So
That's right.
Wasn't
Yeah, you
used
didn't
to
think it
that
was
as
Yeah,
a
the
that
memory
concept.
card
Yeah,
this was the memory card console, wasn't it?
and I would have been like 9, so I didn't have a lot of my own money, so it wasn't like I'm like, well, I guess I go get a memory card.
Right.
So when Smash Bros came out, I wound up leaving the GameCube on for weeks
For
so that I
4
wouldn't lose
months.
my progress until it eventually died, and we had to send
Oh my
it to
goodness.
Nintendo to get fixed. And while it was gone, I bought a memory card.
I could just see Nintendo like has X amount of how have they played it this long?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not possible.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, once you start unlocking characters in Smash Bros, you're like, I'm not gonna do this again. Like this
Oh,
just
yeah.
has to stay on. This box is now just dedicated
That is
to playing
crazy.
Melee.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
I remember like having remember like you'd have like the memory cards that like you couldn't even have a lot of like they were like 2 megabytes or something, whatever. And so
Well, they had like the gray ones that were like 56 blocks or something.
and I remember
then there
the
was
big
a black
juicy ones you
one.
could buy that were like $60 or something.
I
right?
got-
and they
I
were
got
like
a
white
third-
and they were
I got a third-party one that I still have somewhere.
Oh yeah.
That was massive, and it was like the
Mm.
only memory card I ever needed. The only other one I had was
Yeah.
the one that came with Animal Crossing when that came
Yeah.
Yeah,
out.
with that
Um,
cute little sticker too.
Yeah, it was
Amazing.
like the
Funnily
exact
enough-
size. They were like, "This is the exact amount you need for Animal Crossing."
One Animal Crossing save, please.
But amazingly enough, Animal Crossing, the game that you could load into the memory of this GameCube and then take the disc out.
Yes. Well, it's
Yeah.
nice thing about N64 games; they're not very big.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep,
Exactly.
yep.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, Animal Crossing was an N64 game in Japan, and then
Which is
came to America.
why, as charming as it is, boy, is that an ugly looking GameCube game.
Mm.
it's
It's
very
beautiful in its own right.
It's
John.
beautiful. It's a very
It's
nice
beautiful
looking
in
N64 game. It's
nostalgia
a
land.
crazy, ugly polygonal GameCube game. When
Well,
I found out
speaking
that
of
was an
games being
N64
small,
game, I was like,
though-
oh, okay, that
What
makes
would you just jump my story, Jimmy?
Well. Oh, did you have a? Okay,
Nobody
I had such a
cares,
good
Casey.
segue there.
Yeah, he's like,
Just
"Oh,
remember that segue. Okay,
yeah. Write it down. Jot that
I
one
got it.
down
I got
for
it.
later.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for me, I remember I was like real hyped leading up to the launch. I was like, I had gotten an N64 like a year or two after it came out. So like this was the one like I was like, please, like I need this. And again, like 11 or 12, whatever I was at that time.
Mhm.
So no money to speak of. So clearly it was Christmas time miracle. Like this is what I need. And like for some reason, my mom had completely convinced me and my brother, like, you're not getting it. There's no way this is happening. So we're like, okay, we shifted gears. We're like, let's get Game Boy Advances, baby. Like that's what we want.
Mhm.
I remember like looking at all the games.
SPs
Like,
or
no, GBAs. This was
the
like,
originals?
again, like a couple months after the Game Boy came out too. So I was like, let's get this. And like we're unwrapping Christmas presents. We're down to the final gift. And like we're like, oh, she must have wrapped these two together to really get us. You know what I mean? And then yeah,
Mhm.
and then we opened it up, dude. And it was a GameCube, and I lost my mind.
Oh,
my
man,
God.
little Cassidy was running everywhere.
Because I wanted Pikmin so bad. Like that was the game that like when I saw it, I was like, I need to play Pikmin. Like this is the game, I need it. And I remember having dreams that I was playing Pikmin on the Game Boy Advance I got for Christmas. I was like, oh, and then I wake up and I'm like, it's a GameCube game. Like no,
I love those games.
Yeah, like oh, this is
I love
the
those
worst.
dreams. Yeah, those dreams where you're
Yeah.
like,
It
I-
felt so real, you know.
John, do you ever have those dreams where you're in used game stores and you find like the best deal ever, and then like
So I had the exact dream that Casey had, but with Donkey Kong 64.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
no.
This
the
is
same
before,
nightmare?
before I knew that I didn't like Donkey Kong 64. But like when it came out, it was like I didn't have it, and I really wanted it, and I wouldn't get it for years later. But yeah, I used to have dreams that like I had gotten Donkey Kong 64, and I was so excited about it. And then I'd
Mm.
wake up and be like, "No, it was
Why?
all a lie.
Let me go back to sleep, please.
Please."
Yeah,
let
and
me
that was
play."
I.
And
I
then I
didn't-
played Donkey Kong 64, and I'm like, "Oh, I don't like this at all.
Oh,
Can we go back to when I was dreaming it was good?
Wake up! Wake up!"
you know, I'm surprised they didn't do. I guess because Rare, if Rare would have stayed with Nintendo, I wonder if they would have done like some sort of like Donkey Kong like remake, like Donkey Kong 64 remix or something like that.
Like,
That'd have been
but
great.
the good version of it.
Yeah, good version.
But
of Donkey Kong.
and then I do remember I didn't get Melee for Christmas, but I got like a gift card from someone. And I remember going to the mall the next day and then just playing the Target challenges for hours on end. Like so much. Oh, I love those things, dude. The
Mhm.
Target challenges, so much fun.
Yeah, in the chat, Justin said that it came out 2 or 3 weeks after.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it didn't. Yeah, it
Oh,
didn't make
Super Smash.
launch.
Okay,
If I remember
that timing
correctly-
lines up. that makes
I'm
sense.
pretty sure it
Yeah.
was like December 2nd or 3rd because it was around Sandy's birthday,
Mhm.
if I remember correctly. But yeah, I remember like that was like I was like, I can't believe I got the GameCube, but then I was like, but I didn't get Melee. Like that's the one we need to get, boys.
Right. And it's funny because I remember my friends had Melee or we had played it, and that didn't connect with me when I was little. Like we never really knew how to play it. We never it was just kind of a weird game to me. Like because it's kind of because I'm such a platformer. I love the platformers, and it's kind of a weird control. It kind of looks like a platformer,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and so but it
Oh, that-
controls so
Well, and
weird.
when the first Smash Bros came out on N64, I remember being baffled by the controls. Like, I push up to jump.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Because it
exactly.
looks like 2D Mario when you
And then
boot it up.
and that was like in Emissary spaceship
Subspace.
subspace emissary, like that's
Emissary.
when you really like they try to make it sort of a platformer, right? And then you're like, woof, like these controls do
Yeah.
not lend well.
don't
Right.
work. They did
running
a little bit of
and-
that with Melee. They had some a few side-scrolling levels. Like there was like a Mushroom Kingdom one at the beginning. There was the awful Zelda Temple one.
Poke floats, right? They got that one in there too.
Mhm.
That was just a stage, yeah. But
Oh,
yeah,
I
like
see.
the
Yeah, I see what you're talking about,
the adventure had like some 2D side-scrolling levels that
That's
were
right,
of
yeah, the
questionable
challenges and stuff.
quality. Yeah.
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 I mean, even the platforming challenges to more or less, right? It's or the time the target challenges.
yeah.
excuse me,
Oh,
that's
yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
looking
yeah.
for. Yeah, I mean,
those-
even those, yeah. But those are so much fun to have because then you just get to
Well-
use like random abilities.
Well,
to,
remember,
like,
it's a
try
fight.
and-
It's
yeah.
a fighting party game. I mean, it's not.
Right.
Yeah. So once I honestly connected with Smash first on 3DS. So which is kind of crazy to think about.
I was
Nerd.
so scared playing that game on 3DS that I was going to just rip the circle pad.
Well, the thing is like I
Yeah,
never.
yeah.
No, that makes sense because you would play it on the ones before where you just have no respect for the analog stick.
Oh, yeah.
But see, learning it on the 3DS,
This is my system.
I was
yeah.
like, I'm not like I just didn't play like that way, so I just learned different. Anyway, but
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
So
great
what was
stuff.
that amazing transitional statement you had before? You want to
I'm sure it'll
kick
still
it
work
over there
now.
for us?
Well, John said, that's because N64 games weren't that big. And so I said, speaking of
Well,
games
that was
weren't
like
big,
years ago that I said
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
We're bringing it back though.
Speaking of games that weren't big, the discs weren't very big. That was my
No.
segue.
I thought that was.
So
yes, no, they were not.
no,
it was worth the wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously we got our little mini discs here. We got a little Pikmin right here for you. Speaking of one of my favorite games of all time.
Yeah, Pikmin 2.
We got this is that. Oh yeah, it is Pikmin 2. Yep, we got a little Pikmin here. So yeah, Nintendo decided to go with the mini disc.
Yeah, and,
Which
and it's funny because like I think that we all think of that as
Nintendo
somewhat of a
being
mistake,
Nintendo.
weird thing. Can't have a lot of memory on there. That stinks. But I can see some reasons why. One, piracy, harder to pirate.
Mhm.
Two, they didn't have to pay like DVD licensing, which is so Nintendo. I think
Yep.
so old school Nintendo.
Mhm. Yeah, let's go find the two people
mean,
in the world
even
that
now-
make mini discs.
Even the Wii U had those rounded edges.
Was its own proprietary thing, which, by the way,
Yeah.
are like it's the most like.
I already know where he's
comfy
going with this. Yeah.
Oh
disc,
man, Wii U
dude. Like,
discs are
it's
amazing.
so pleasant to hold.
Oh, it is.
every- Everyone else
not sharp.
should curve the edges of their discs.
Yes.
It's
Man, we
so
can make a couple
pleasant.
of good gifts
maybe they
there
own
with
the
John. A couple good gifts right there.
maybe they own the maybe they own that. Maybe they can get people can license. the
Nintendo
rounded
has a
edges.
patent
Yeah.
on curved disc
On-
edges. I hope so.
Yes. Well, yeah, and I think discs are. I mean, we'll see, but I think discs are probably.
Kaputs. Well, yeah.
I mean,
no, it's still going to be
PS5
on the PS5.
and Series
I'm
X.
saying for Nintendo.
Oh, for Nintendo. Yeah, I mean, arguably, we're at a point now where
Physical
you can,
media,
You
yeah.
can fit an off. Well, do we need physical media? As a collector, I say please. But even if you're gonna do physical media, there's an argument that you can access a tiny little hard drive like a Switch cartridge faster than you can access a Blu-ray. So
Exactly.
we may go back to cartridges. It's all
Yeah.
coming around.
Full circle.
I love it.
Yep.
Just like
We
the
love
disc.
cartridges.
But,
and then maybe Square Enix will finally come back to Nintendo and release Final Fantasy VII like they always meant.
Part 1 through 8.
I think they already did. They did release it on the Switch.
They did. Yeah. It took.
There you
Yeah.
go.
They really were just waiting for Nintendo to be able
That's
to
what
support
they
those
wanted to do.
cutscenes. Yeah.
Yeah, they were waiting for Nintendo to go back to the cartridge.
We
when
need
they
something we
released
can fit them on.
Yeah.
Exactly.
it. Now I was gonna say those discs. So just for trivia here. So like a DVD can fit like 8.5 gigs around there,
Mhm.
and the little mini disc is only 1.5 gigs.
So
It's kind of
quite
interesting.
quite a bit smaller.
Quite a bit smaller, yeah.
So that would, I think
Oh, and I love those.
that's like sort of the part where it goes from bringing ports from other systems to GameCube. The first sort of like, oh well, we don't want to go through that extra work necessarily, right? What do you got there?
I was like, I remember Splinter Cell Chaos Theory being 2 discs.
That's a beautiful case.
I do have this. This is a special. I remember I got this a few years ago off eBay for 99 cents.
Sweet.
Collector's edition. But it comes with this. Actually, it's just a stupid.
Oh,
It's the one that they use in all the versions.
Well, yeah, because there's a few that they just have like stacked, right? Boom,
Yep.
boom, in the case.
Resident Evil
4 or
no
is it
0
1?
or 1
Resident Evil
really?
4 had 2 discs.
Did it?
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, there. I know at least some of the Resident Evil games were spread across multiple.
And then Twin
discs.
Snakes. Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes did.
Yep.
I remember that.
And then
Remember-
weird
oh.
counterexample, you had stuff like Bionicle, where instead of doing 2 discs, they just compressed the music down to a satanic level, so it sounds like you're listening to the game through a diaper.
Oh
and
man.
it's 2
Always a
discs,
solid idea. Anything to save the almighty dollar, as they
Yeah.
say, right?
which
Yep.
is
Yeah.
it's an awful lot like people releasing Switch games on cartridges that are too small to fit their Switch games.
Mhm. Yep.
Which
What
it's just
was that?
they make bigger
Some-
ones.
Some don't eat. Yeah, but who wants to spend the money when you could just download
Yeah,
it?
who wants to pay to release a game on a system?
Just don't tell David that with his internet, you can't do it.
Mm.
But yeah, so yeah, that sort of is that first step, I think, for in Nintendo's lineage, right? Of almost being like, oh, well, that's the excuse why we don't want to port it, right? Like the mini discs, we don't want to go that way. With the Wii, right? It was like, oh, it's so much weaker than the other games, right? Like, I don't want to end up porting it that way. Wii U, no one bought it. We don't want to port it, So it's sort of like the
Yeah.
beginning of what sort of became a trend, and I think we're bucking that trend now. Obviously, Switch still a little
For
bit
now.
weaker, but yeah.
As
yeah,
soon as
for
the
now.
Series X and PS5 comes out, we'll see if we continue to
Yeah.
buck that trend or not.
Right.
The Witcher 3 came out on the Switch. It's still anything's possible,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah.
Yeah, we did record an episode about what we think is going to be the next. We kind of dwindled it down. I think we did a really good job actually of like what is going to be next for Nintendo,
the Switch 2.
and it essentially was like
The
40S.
Switch U.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Oh man, I hope that
God
comes.
help us all.
But yeah, I mean, I guess we can kind of get into our
Well, I was gonna say we can get into the games now, or we can get
Yeah.
into some of the peripherals. I don't know what
Peripherals,
route we
you
wanna do.
say?
Yeah. He's
How
got
about the most amazing peripheral ever released to anything ever?
and he's got about 4 or 5 sets of these downstairs.
I
in
have
his
5.
basement.
I have 5.
He's
I have
How
five
many
of
hoarding
these.
all of the
players is
bongos.
Donkey Konga?
It's 4. But
Just to have a
You gotta-
backup in case
But
somebody
then-
drums a little too hard.
exactly.
In case my brother comes to play, we
yeah,
got
but
the
we
backup,
all
so.
need to look at one too when we're playing as well. So we all play, and then we put one up in the front just to remember how cool it is. But yeah,
It
I've
was
been-
definitely an interesting time for Nintendo, right? They were doing all sorts of weird stuff. Obviously, we talked a little bit about how the Game Boy Advance had come out prior to the GameCube, but they were really leaning into connectivity between the two, right?
oh,
they had-
connectivity.
They had the connector, right? The Game Boy GameCube connector was literally like a cable for a controller, but it just
Amazing, yeah.
popped right into the top of the Game Boy. And we saw some really cool implementations of that, right?
Oh
We-
yeah, I mean,
Final Fantasy Crystal
yeah.
Chronicles.
Let's talk about that for a little bit.
Which
Yeah,
is
Chronicles.
actually due for a re-release upcoming. But that game, it was probably the most convoluted game to play because you needed to have a GameCube, a game, 4 GBAs, and 4.
Did you have to have
connector.
4 of them?
I mean, if you wanted to play 4
oh,
player,
I thought just one person used that.
no, everyone had their own
Oh,
because
okay.
it was
Interesting.
you were
Okay.
traveling around and you would be able to access your menu and such from the Game Boy. But like their thing was like, well, you could do that while everyone else keeps playing.
It's
Except you still got to bring that stupid bucket around. So it's like
it is a
like
weird
Yeah.
proto Wii U thing.
yeah,
Totally,
really.
absolutely a proto Wii. And I got 2 games here, very heavily cool features. Now, first of all, I guess starting with WarioWare Inc. Mega Party Games. This game to me is so special to me. I mean, this was a game that I remember I was going to go buy Pokemon Leaf or Fire Red or Leaf Green, one of those.
You see it right
And I
there.
told my friend,
The
oh, the
connectivity logo.
connectivity, yep.
Yeah.
I I told my friend that I was gonna go get it, and we were gonna trade pocket monsters, all that fun stuff.
Mm.
And I went there and I saw this. I remember I bought this at Blockbuster.
It's a
You
very
could
old
buy games
sentence.
there.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. And I remember I was just like, what is this game? And I see like Wario, it's this cool cartoon art style, all these characters I don't know. I look on the back, 1 to 4 players and the Game Boy Advance compatible. I see like, hey, and then it literally says on the back, hey, buy my game. So I was like, okay, Wario, you're the boss.
Sold.
Yeah.
So I bought this. I took it home. And I had no idea what it was, and I bought it. And I remember playing it, and it was like all these games. Like, this is actually really fun. And then there's multiplayer modes. Best multiplayer game ever. My favorite. This has. Have you played this multiplayer?
Yes. Yeah.
No, you haven't.
I'm waiting
But-
for us to get to the Star Fox Assault segment of the show.
Oh,
so I
yeah.
can-
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna get to that at 4:45.
Yeah. No.
I-
If you have a Wavebird and it says 1 to 4 player, but this is 1 to 16 player simultaneous play, or I guess you could say not simul. I guess it'd be handoff play. Anyway, there's a mode in there where you just play and you can set up 16 characters. And I did this at my party, a birthday party. We had 12 people. I guess it was 12 people,
Mhm.
and it was like Casey's gonna play, so hand the controller to them. We'd throw the Wavebird over there, and then put the finger on the nose, and then and then last man standing. So much fun. Literally best moments of my life. Yeah,
it's
even
all
better than
downhill
my
from
the
there.
birth of my child and my wedding.
and my wife, but don't tell her that.
Yeah, don't tell her that. Another game though, just real quick that it's like Crystal Chronicles. Zelda, Legend of Zelda: Four Swords Adventures for the GameCube. Very reliant on glare.
A Zelda game that does not get the love it deserves.
Mm.
No, and this is a weird game. I'm going back and playing it now
Yeah.
because it's like it has like it is like the Link to the Past like art, but
Yeah,
it's
it
weird
wanted-
seeing it like portrayed on the GameCube and stuff.
Yeah, it's. I mean, until Link's Awakening on Switch, it was the most recent console 2D Zelda. And yeah,
That's
all the
so
artwork
weird.
for it is
Whoa, yeah, you're right.
beautiful. Yeah.
I guess the last one before that was
Link to the
2.
Past.
Link
Link to the Past. Yeah, Link to the
Yeah.
Past. Yeah.
What's the one? It's the most like popular one.
Yeah, like the best game ever. Yeah. So Legend of Zelda: Four Swords Adventures, we got to play that. That's a great. I mean, I wanted to say because of the WarioWare, we were talking about Game Boy, you could play the whole game because WarioWare Mega Party Games is like almost like a port of the Game Boy Advance game.
Mhm.
You can play the whole game on your Game Boy, and even like the icons that it says like to press A and hit the D-pad.
It's
They're
actually
literally in a
Boy.
Game Boy Advance. And you can use a Game Boy controller, and I think you can even download some of the games onto the Game Boy.
That
and
was
play
a
them on
thing
there.
they did. Yeah, I think Animal
is
Crossing
crazy.
did that too, right? Where you could.
Yeah.
And the e-reader,
Yes.
baby.
Oh, Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing. You could download those NES games and play them on the go. That was insane.
And now
Yeah.
they only
And you
charge
could-
you
you
like
could-
$5 for them.
Yeah, you could John them up, and you could just leave that system on all day and play Balloon Fight all day.
I think that's when Nintendo started to realize too, like, oh, we have this great history of games that people either haven't
So-
played.
So instead of selling them that, we'll exclusively sell them Balloon Fight repeatedly for the next several generations.
Good old
Yeah,
Balloon Fight.
Good old
dude.
Balloon Fight.
Mm.
Uh,
But yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. They had some really weird peripherals too. I can think of
got
the
one.
GameCube controller with the keyboard in it, and I believe that was
Yeah.
released around the time of Phantasy Star Online 2, because obviously it was an online game to be talking to
Yeah.
people. So and it was literally like that big. I think it was super big.
huge.
Obviously had a big keyboard in the middle. What else? There was the strange microphone, which I guess could also sort of be like them messing around with that led to maybe, let's make sure we get that mic in the DS so everyone can
Yeah.
play
Gotta
everyone's favorite
I mean, if
games.
you're not blowing on your game system, what are you doing with your life?
Yeah, and God forbid you're out on the bus or something. First, you're gonna look like a
100%
goon.
guaranteed you will be. That
But
no
the
one,
thing is,
no one's ever been told to blow on their 3DS from the comfort of their own home. It's
Yeah, no.
exclusively been when you're surrounded by like 20 strangers. Yeah.
You know what's the worst is on Mario Kart DS. You have to blow up your balloons on the battle mode, or you can hold X to do it slowly. So it's like you can either shamefully blow into your mic like a
And the fact that it
Guild
does it
bar.
slowly by pushing the button means that they know.
yes,
Like they
Hmm.
know what they're asking you to do.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they're like, I guess if you don't want to do it, that's fine. It'll just take a little bit longer.
yeah. Those cheeky biscuits. Yeah,
So funny.
yeah. We got to play this case Mario Party 7.
Yeah, before they were sort of jumping the shark towards the end of some of those Mario parties.
I think
before
they were, but
rebranded.
I'd like to go back and see. Yeah,
It's no 2.
Toadette's in here, so that's
But yeah, like I said, it's definitely a time when Nintendo was messing around with all sorts of wacky ideas. I don't think we mentioned before that there were actually sort of rumblings of motion control early on in the sort of the development and lead up to the GameCube. Obviously, they didn't really go along with that, right? They sort of shifted that to the Wii, but so they were already thinking these ideas, and again, the Wii ended up sort of being
well. They even
2
had
GameCubes pretty much strapped together,
whatever
with
that
some
means.
Wii, some motion control.
Well, they had the Luigi's Mansion. They were developing like a 3D screen
I think
thingy.
I was reading too. They actually that game supports it. At least it did on development side, but obviously
right?
no one had
There's
3D
no way to
TVs
implement
around
it.
then.
Yeah.
And then even now, no one wants a 3D TV.
I wonder if there's anyone at school recess saying did you know that if you take the HDMI cable or if you a GameCube and if you plug it into a 3D TV that you can play Luigi's Mansion on the GameCube in 3D.
And they're like, "Shut up, Jimmy. Nobody cares about the GameCube.
Hey,
3D on the GameCube.
Shut up, you nerd."
Yeah. And also, I guess one more before we sort of get into a bunch of games, because obviously GameCube, an insane library, really high quality
Oh my
games.
goodness!
But
yes.
something to even make the library bigger, you pop in that Game Boy player right in the bottom, right? Boom, and now you've got
Game
Game
Boy
Boy
Player
Advance.
was so cool.
So-
Every Game Boy game ever, kind of. I think there's probably some that you could.
I think you could still play. What's the one you got?
Where Twisted?
Yeah, I think you still play that.
can
You just
still
have
do
to
that.
twist. You got your
Yeah.
handle.
I remember
It will
some-
laser burn the crap out of your Game Boy Player disc.
Yeah.
But
who cares?
it's not like that's one of the most expensive discs for the system or anything.
Yeah, I was
so
going
it's
to
fine.
say, yeah, the player itself isn't that expensive.
Yeah,
It's
no.
that dang
That-
disc.
I know. Yeah, I know. I always forget about that. Oh, it comes the Game Boy Player. Oh, that actually costs less than the disc. Oh, there it is.
The holy
look-
grail.
Look at
Wow.
look at this guy.
GameCube discs.
Amazing.
Yep.
How
How much do they go for, John? Do you know offhand?
Did you know?
I know they're expensive.
The player goes for around $50. The player with the disc is probably 100 to 150.
Yeah.
That's
The
crazy,
disc
man.
itself is pricey.
Yeah, I remember I got I got the disc and I put the Game Boy and I got Mario and Luigi, and I put that in there and I had a controller cord with a cord extender. I had that plugged in and it had this lag on it. It was so terrible. And for Mario and Luigi, I remember you're supposed to dodge attacks. I was trying to play press jump. It was just terrible.
Is that what your brother told you? Yeah, it's the lag. You were just bad.
No, this was 5 years ago.
Which makes me believe that it might have been that you were just bad. That's neither here nor there.
Shut up. Now let's get to the games.
Games,
John,
baby.
I have a sneaking suspicion that there's a couple of games on the GameCube that you appreciate more than the rest.
So
Yes.
GameCube has the distinct honor of being the only the only system to have 2 Star Fox games released for it during its official
During its life cycle.
lifetime. Yeah, the SNES technically also had 2 Star Fox
Put the
games,
asterisk up
but
there.
it took a really long time to get the second.
Yeah, it did. That's
Um,
true. And those are some cool looking covers, by the way. You should hold those
They're
up again.
beautiful. So
Look at
I
that.
need to
Yeah, those
get
are
the
sweet.
Japanese cover of Assault is holographic, and
Ooh.
it's
You don't
gorgeous.
have that?
Yeah.
No, I'm still working on the Japanese. I have everything English. I'm still working up through
Goodness,
Japanese.
I thought I knew John.
I would say
I
a
have-
quick preface. John is the world's largest
He
Star
really
Fox
is.
fan.
He
As
really
you
is.
can tell, he's got it. Well, stature-wise, he might not be
Don't
the
you have
largest.
a
I'm
signed copy
arguably one of
like
the smallest Star Fox fans, I think.
don't you have the a prototype Star Fox cartridge signed by
I have
Yeah. So we'll keep
Yeah, yeah.
we'll keep
No, no, yeah.
So he is the guy. He loves Star Fox more than anything. We can see his shirt there. We got some Star Fox playing in the background.
Mhm.
So we always joke around with him about Star Fox.
Well,
but
yeah. I mean, well,
it's a great series, but like
yeah.
it's got a bumpy road for the
So
for
this-
sure. But
This
Oh,
is
look at
a
that.
not for resale Star Fox cartridge, and
There
it's
you go.
signed by Dylan Cuthbert at the bottom and Giles Goddard at the top, which were the 2 lead programmers on the game.
Amazing.
is
And
that your
it
favorite
says good luck,
piece
which is
in the
amazing.
entire
It's
your
probably
entire collection?
This is probably the most valuable thing in my Star Fox collection, until I can get a copy of the Star Fox Weekend, whatever
yeah.
thingy. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Good luck.
Then I have to get that
Oh, yeah.
signed.
Good luck. Good luck. Yeah, that's amazing. So Star Fox Adventures
It's a great
came
game.
out. Is it?
Here's the
Tell
thing
us
about Star
about it,
Fox
John.
Adventures. Star Fox
Tell us-
Adventures.
Tell us the one single
If-
thing about Star Fox.
If you don't know about Star Fox Adventures, it was developed by Rare. It was supposed to be a brand new IP. Miyamoto said it and saw it and said, "Hey, that's a fox. We have one of those," and asked them to put Fox in it. And at
Boom.
first, they were like, "We don't really like that." And then, as they were doing it, and they saw that people were actually getting hyped about their game because it was a Star Fox game, they said, "Oh, never
We like
mind.
that."
It sells better," and they were cool with it.
Mhm.
But it plays nothing like most Star Fox games, but it's a really good Zelda game.
Mm.
Probably one of my favorite Zelda games.
Really?
I'll be honest. I've never played either Star Fox games for the GameCube.
I mean,
I have-
it's a it's a huge world. Most of it is there's no loading screens. Like it just keeps on streaming in
Seamless.
this giant. Yeah, it's like a seamless world, which is really cool and probably one of the best looking games on GameCube. That fur was amazing.
It really
Mm.
was.
And then
I got
Star
one
Fox
thing-
Assault is a very straightforward arcade shooter, more traditional Star Fox. The story
I
is
mean-
dumb. It's great.
But in that one has more of the actual Star Fox gameplay. But then isn't it mostly like third person shooting?
I mean, that is traditional Star Fox gameplay.
I mean, sorry. With the
You mean like
character hopping around
So
and stuff.
it's a mix of you have like your flight levels, both rail line and all range. You have stuff
Yep.
where you're in the landmaster, the tank. You have stuff where you're on foot. But now looking back on it, we can see that a lot of that ground stuff where they're like destroy these targets is pretty much the gameplay of Star Fox 2. We just didn't know that at the time.
So, John, would you have? So, Christopher in the chat says he wished it had come out as Dinosaur Planet. Do you wish that?
I think it would be interesting to see. We have like betas and stuff out there, but I think ultimately the game got.
And it was a 64 game, wasn't it?
It was
A tail end, and they shifted.
Yep. I think it's hard to say. A lot of people now see Star Fox Adventures and like there's this kind of like view of it as not being good because it's not like the other ones.
Mhm.
That view wasn't really critically in existence when that game came out. That view happened afterwards. That game, like Star Fox Adventures, reviewed very well. It sold very well for a GameCube game. Like, it was a
I
successful
remember it being
game.
kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a successful game largely because it had the Star Fox branding on it.
It has a great cover too.
Oh yeah, it does. So I think it would be awesome to play the original version. If that were to exist, it doesn't, but it would be cool to play it. But I don't think it hurt the game to be rebranded. You know what I mean?
I was gonna ask.
Agreed.
Is there like having you going through it, knowing, all right, this wasn't originally going to be a Star Fox game?
Mhm.
Is there areas in the game that you'd be like, oh, like that was definitely tagged on after it made the shift to Star Fox? I mean, aside from just clearly adding those characters,
So
into it.
spoilers for a 20-year-old game, but the final boss was definitely tacked on because there is no boss fight with the boss that you think that game's boss is going to be.
Oh, that's
It
great.
just falls over and it goes, oh wait, no, Andros, and then you fight Andros in an R-wing, and it's a good boss fight.
That
but,
sounds awesome.
but yeah,
But
didn't
I love that.
necessarily
Totally.
fit.
Totally tacked
So,
on.
and we can move on a little bit, but I just want. Which one do you like better, Assault or Adventures?
Assault.
Yeah,
Assault
okay.
is, I think, one of like top 3 Star Fox games. Assault's really good. Assault
Top
is
3.
not
The first one, and then 64, and then Assault.
first one, 2, and then Assault. Star Fox 64
Wow.
is great and all, but it does nothing new. It
Star
just
Fox 64 3D. Oh,
It
baby.
just actually
great.
was not wireframe.
Do you know what's fun
Yep.
to play, by the way? Star Fox 64 3D on the new 3DS with the gyro mode is actually really fun.
I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
with
that
the
game's
3D
hard
on.
to come by too, actually. If I
It
remember
It was.
correctly.
I think they did a re.
They did their like Nintendo Select
the
re-release
Selects,
of it.
okay.
So that
Before that,
But the
though, I
original one though
remember
is still pretty.
I remember
Yeah.
it was
sought after.
pretty hard to find. And then I remember on Reddit, one of the communities, they were just like, "Oh, if you want it, just say you want it. We'll send it to you. Then you beat it and just send it to the next person." And then probably someone was like,
Yeah,
"You
no
put
kidding.
that right in the old pocket."
All
And
right,
it was
well,
John.
Let's go on to. I mean, I wanted to make sure we got our Star Fox on there.
Thank
It's kind
you.
of like we've paid John his
his
his-
dues
yeah,
for coming
his
out.
dues, yeah.
I can take this shirt off now.
But Casey,
Yeah.
what's your, yeah? Please do.
Yeah.
Casey, what is some of your favorite? You know,
I
when you
mean,
think back to it, what's one
yeah,
of your favorite games?
Yeah,
on
when
GameCube?
I think back to the GameCube, right? Obviously, there are a ton of great games.
Which we got like 10 minutes here, just so you
yeah.
know.
So I'll talk for 10, then we'll quit now.
Sounds good.
So obviously, I mentioned before Pikmin. That was one of those games in the beginning. I was like, man, I need this. I love this game, right? So then like that was early on, right? That was like one of my first games I played on the system. So
I just want to say, everyone in the chat, go ahead and post your favorite GameCube games, and we'll read them off.
yeah, we can see some. Yeah,
Your
perfect.
favorite top 2 or 3 or something.
You know, so Pikmin was obviously great. I adore Super Mario Sunshine. I know some people look back
oh,
and
baby, dude.
the blue coins.
So if you listen to
It's so
our
good.
Honestly,
So good.
Sunshine is probably my
Yes,
favorite
John.
3D Mario game.
100% agree.
well,
I
if you
absolutely
don't count
love it.
Super Mario the 3D Land for me, but 3D Land's my favorite. But if you if just like the
Then I think over to, I mean, obviously you got Zeldas, right? You got
dude, this
Wind
is the
Waker.
ultimate Zelda machine. Good land.
Well, yeah, especially with those collector's editions and pre-order bonuses that came out that allowed you to play, you know, Master
go, you can
Quest,
hold that.
Ocarina of Time, and other games. But for me, you know, like obviously Wind Waker had quite the interesting launch or lead up to launch. A lot of people were they saw that tech demo of the original, you know, when the GameCube was coming, like, oh look, it's Ganon and Link fighting, like it's gonna be amazing.
Yeah,
And then it was like,
which is a pretty ugly one, by the way.
oh yeah, but
If
and
you
then
look
they
back at that,
and then
audio.
they went with the cell
that big
shading.
video.
And I remember I was cool with it. I was like, this game looks great, and I really love this game. But to me, honestly, the best Zelda game on the GameCube is Twilight Princess. Even though I played it on the Wii, like I had gone back and played like Twilight Princess to me is a better game than Wind Waker. But
Really?
yeah, people probably won't
Yikes.
probably
I
won't
disagree
agree with me on
you,
that.
But I respect
Never
your
got-
weird opinion.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a great game.
It's
I
a
have
really
nothing
great
against it,
game.
but I mean, besides it being
it's a little drab color wise. You know, that was sort of
When that trailer came out for Twilight Princess, people lost their minds because
I lost my mind. I remember that.
We all
I
did.
remember
Zelda
that.
after Wind Waker, and then that trailer hit, and it was like they're
I
doing
watched that
exactly
trailer
what
like
we
a
wanted.
billion times. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
which is weird.
Exactly.
Nintendo doesn't do that, so it was
No,
a
they don't.
bizarre moment.
I can think. Obviously, we'll talk a little bit about Metroid Prime. I'm sure in a minute.
Everyone what is this, by the way? Like, this is a promo disc. No, but John, tell me what this is, because like this wasn't an original an official
that was-
release, but it
That
was.
was bundled in with certain GameCube. Like there was a bundle that included that. I remember one of my best friends
Which is
got it
weird,
with his
right?
GameCube
Because
later
it
on,
has
and I
this
was
weird
so
game.
jealous.
This is everyone. This is the promotional disc that includes the 4 Majora's Mask and the Ocarina of Time and the Zelda. and Zelda 2.
OGs,
But it's
yeah.
just, I know that it's just weird because I don't remember. I know they like my friend bought this at GameStop or something. Like they
I
had
mean,
it
you
for
see them
sale,
floating
No, he
around
but it says
used.
not for resale on it.
Yeah,
but,
they float around used.
but yeah, it's just I always thought that was kind of yeah. So it was anyway. But yeah, you could play a lot of Zelda games.
Real quick, I guess just Animal Crossing obviously is up there. I played a ton of that. I remember I was a big old nerd boy. I was like, I will not time travel. I'll wake up at 5:30 a.m. before
Oh,
school
man.
to pick mushrooms.
I time traveled. I put in that
Yeah.
code for the 10,000
Beat
free
it,
turnips and
You
stuff.
loser.
Oh man,
And then I'd say, what was I going to say? Soul Calibur 2. I think that one, I
actually
like
got
that game.
because it had Link on it.
But I was
going
gonna
to
say, I think that one just has sort of a more historical time, you know, piece in time, because each version, right, it came out for Xbox, PS2, GameCube, and each version had their own special character.
Mhm.
Obviously, the GameCube version was the best version because it had Link,
Mhm.
which I think is safe to say. But I guess I'll wrap up on Resident Evils. It was a good
Oh, yeah,
system.
man.
You got Resident Evil
You got like
Remake,
them all on there.
which is incredible. That game
Mhm.
is super great. Really love it. I'm a fan of the stationary cameras, and because to me it really sets up the suspense when you're rounding that corner, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, now the camera's in my face, and I thought it was a zombie or something, and the crimson heads, they added that where when you kill a zombie, normally they're just dead, but you could, some of them would reanimate as really difficult enemies, so you had to get kerosene and burn them to protect yourself from that. But Resident Evil 4, I mean, it is.
Mhm.
I mean,
It's still an impressive game.
it might be the best GameCube game. It might be. It is. It's up there. I don't know, man. It is an absolute masterpiece.
It's very good.
They've re-released it, and actually, we saw Christopher in the chat asked about how some of the games, GameCube games, being released with Wii Motion Plus. Resident Evil 4,
That's true.
beautiful example of that.
Yeah, it's funny. They didn't call that new play control. They
Yeah.
should have called that new play control.
They should have, because essentially it was, right?
You can beat the chainsaw guy with your Wii.
Yeah. Jesus, Jerry.
Yeah, I want to say Sergey said Little King Story, which I never played that on.
I didn't play
But
that
I've heard that as a. I know David says favorite non-Nintendo game, Ty the Tasmanian Tiger, which was just released. On the Switch. There you go.
Yep.
Christopher Frank, he said Metroid Prime favorite, which I would probably, that's definitely my top 5.
So atmospherical.
And he says that
that game.
he likes it better on the Wii, which I agree. Same thing. The Wii version is amazing, but the GC version is still really good.
The Wii definitely got some really great ports from there and sort of made them even better.
Yeah,
which
Pikmin,
for sure.
Pikmin 2 is
Pikmin,
really awesome. Yeah. And then Mike Thomas says Mario Sunshine, best Mario ever.
My man,
Mike
he knows
Thomas.
what he's.
You should listen
It's
to our
funny,
podcast.
not often that you get 3 people on a podcast who agree that Sunshine
I
is the
know.
best 3D Mario
I know,
game.
it's crazy.
So, we didn't plan this, folks.
No, we didn't.
We didn't plan that.
Yep.
But we are getting low on time, Jerry.
We
if
are.
you want to maybe talk about some
I
of
just
your
want to say
favorites.
these other couple ones, which is the Justin says Melee, Metroid Prime, and Wind Waker.
I mean, Melee is probably the most played GameCube game to this date. Obviously, huge competitive scene still. I know a lot of people that you can do net play, so you can play online against people.
Which
and it actually, ironically, works better than Ultimate's online play.
Another Sakurai game. That,
actually, maybe not that ironic.
The Oscars are mentioning. How do we feel about Kirby Air Ride? Real quick. I remember that game. I remember like being a really fun multiplayer game.
Yep.
I don't think I played
Like and
that
weird. Yeah, that's a game that I'd love to play again.
Should be
Being
good.
really bizarre.
Get that guy off of Smash Bros. So we can revisit that in Kid Icarus.
Boom. Yes.
Oh man. I will say that my favorite games for sure: Wind Waker, WarioWare, Mario Kart, Double Dash,
Another
Metroid Prime for sure, Mario Party 4. Mario Party 4. Oh, I've had it multiple times over the years, and I love it to death. And unfortunately, I don't have it now, and it's ridiculous. And John, another game. If you find a Mario Party 4,
Okay, I'll let you know.
and then Beautiful Joe. Beautiful Joe. I'm a huge Beautiful Joe fan. That kind of let me live out like my action like movie fantasy of like punching people and
well,
stuff.
instead of getting
exploding.
beaten up, you were finally doing the
Finally,
beating up,
yeah,
so
exactly.
which is always nice.
But thank you so much. I guess we can probably do our outros now. I mean, I know it's
I figured so we're us two right here. We are the Talk Nintendo podcast. You can find us on just about any podcast service. We are a weekly show. We just released 204 last week, or actually
episode
this
204.
week. So we got plenty of
That's
episodes
over on
for you to catch up.
NintendoWorldReport.com,
Which this
where we're
man right
hosted.
here is the director of Nintendo World Report. He does awesome work, especially over on our YouTube, Nintendo World Report TV.
Yeah, NWR TV.
Reviews, features. John has
We got
made
great
some of the
stuff
best
on
videos
NWR
we got up
TV.
there. So definitely, worth
We do
checking
have
out.
probably more Star Fox videos than any other channel on YouTube.
Yeah.
You can put that on like a shirt.
A sticker.
Like NWR TV, we probably have the most Star Fox videos.
Boom.
Actually, we should do that for our next shirt.
Yeah,
that would be
the next
amazing.
one.
Yes,
Yep.
that would be amazing. Yeah. Which, speaking of, join our Patreon. We are sending out look at this, huh? Oh,
Speak of Planet GameCube,
Planet
that
GameCube,
is
yeah.
the origins, right, of our
Yep.
site.
So yeah, you might if you're totally old school, you might know Planet GameCube being the origins, which is perfect for our podcast here. We're about to go out, I think, in like really momentarily. Might get cut off here. So
Thank you, everyone.
Patreon.com/NWR. Check us out. Thank you so much for joining us, John. Thank you.
Thanks,
Casey.
guys.
Well, thank you, Jerry. Thank you, John. Thank you, everyone in the chat, for participating, hanging out from us. We have a panel tomorrow. Us three again. We're going to be talking about some really mystery history.
2:45.
Games,
See you then.
Yes. See you.
Goodbye.